Hello traders, Rich here and welcome to Kucoin S episode 31, and today we are going to go over KCS analysis. So let's get started, and as usual, cheers. Unfortunately, we all know what happened the previous 2 weeks, FTX crash, Alameda, and so on. So I'll not get into it. I'll be focusing on exchanges for today because we are going to go over KCS, right? So what really happened, because many traders ask me about what's happening, have you bottomed yet? Why is KCS dropping? And so on, right? So this video hopefully will clear things out. And of course, our focus would be on KCS. So what happened, you know, that FTX crashed, and now we all wanted the exchanges to prove their solvency, right? So we wanted them to post their proof of reserve. So Johnny, the CEO of Kucoin, posted it immediately, like after a couple of days. And however, Crypto.com and Gate.io haven't posted it yet. What surprised us is that Crypto.com sent a lot, like millions of USDT worth of Ethereum to Gate.io. So maybe before Gate.io post their proof of reserve and so on. So they were helping one another to increase their proof of reserve or to prove something they don't actually have. Now, Crypto.com said that it's a mistake. Maybe they are right, but the timing was quite not that good, right? But of course, we can't really like exactly know, but a mistake just like this, like after a lot of approvals before sending it out, I don't really think it would be a mistake. Hopefully not, but who knows, right? But this event made traders lose trust in exchanges. And of course, you can see all exchanges, tokens like HT, KCS, and so on, dropping hard. Okay, so it's not an event related to KCS in a specific manner, to Kucoin in a specific manner. Instead, you can clearly see that over the past previous months, we had like many rumors or FUD regarding Kucoin, that it's insolvent and so on. And every single time Johnny, the CEO, posted like everything that will clear out all these FUDs. And you can see this, you see that KCS stood strong even during these times, and even like before FTX, right? How, and you can clearly see that one FUD or one bad news for FTX and it collapsed, right? So if this would happen for Kucoin, it would have happened like long time ago, like during the first FUD. So Kucoin survived 3 FUDs because no clear evidence or nothing like if you want like yeah evidence that it's true, like was sent out, right? So that's basically it. Last week was just because of the fear, and you can clearly see that people were shifting their money from exchanges to cold wallets, to cold storage, right? Like Trezor, Ledger, and so on. So because like they didn't want another FTX, especially what happened to Crypto.com and Gate.io. So now all like all the attention or like the war is through these two, not for KuCoin. So like now traders shifted the attention from KuCoin to these two. Okay, so that's basically it. Exchanges, tokens are going down while like the decentralized exchanges like Uniswap and so on, if you see, was going up, right? Because like people are transferring their money from their exchanges to a wallet and then trading through DEXs, through decentralized exchanges. And you can clearly see, like, for example, like for TWT, which is the token of trust wallet, is also going up. That's the main reason. So that being said, let's dive into KuCoin or KCS technical chart, which is what I do best, right? So let's do it after this long introduction. Let me take another sip as a break. So as mentioned previously multiple times, and like luckily last week was also an episode for KCS. You can also watch it out. And you can see like how things change so fast, right? And that's how we adapt, because anyway, you can see it and you can then check this one out. And anyway, I'll be updating it real quick. So we know that KCS has been trading inside this big wedge pattern, making a big impulse, a correction, another impulse movement. We were in a flat correction, waiting for a breakup of the 11.5, right? This area here for the push take over long term and exit this wedge pattern, or which was also a scenario, as I mentioned previously multiple times, that if we break it downward, we'll be expecting one last leg down, the exact same chart if you want for Bitcoin and Ethereum, before we trade higher. So basically KCS is following Ethereum, and you can clearly notice now when I show you that when Bitcoin broke below 20K, KCS broke below 10.0 at the same exact like candle and trade lower exact movement as Bitcoin. But the further bearish movement, which had happened last week, is due to the fear, right? So that's it. Anyway, we now broke below this support zone. It's now as a resistance. And my analysis is still the same, that for the bulls to take over from a long-term perspective, we need to see a break above the 11.5. Meanwhile, we'll be looking for short-term buy setups around the support area. And as you see, we had the support previously. Like I had it like for like 6 months or even 1 year, that now price retested it. And as you can see, price rejected it. And you can clearly see that KCS came back stronger because, of course, this support is very obvious. And it's also a demand zone, right? Because we had an aggressive movement upwards from here. And then you can see like the waves, because like too many orders got filled right here and this entire area, right? So we had like buying pressure around this area, and we traded higher. Now we are rejecting this supply zone, which was formed due to the movement downward last week, right? So now expect another big, small bearish movement from here. And if price goes down till around this area, starting from here, we'll be looking for a buy setup, for a buy setup around this area. So from a technical perspective, we are trading inside this big wedge pattern. That's our support zone. And we are looking for buy setups on lower time frames around the support and so on. And from a long-term perspective, waiting for a break above this area. Now, for another bearish scenario, just like Bitcoin, if you break below the 15K on Bitcoin, also expect a bearish movement on KCS. So just like the entire market, if you break it down, we will be expecting a movement to the lower bound, which would be Bitcoin testing the 10 to 12K demand zone and support zone, which is also a very similar demand zone on KCS, right? So this is from a long-term bearish movement. If it happens on Bitcoin and the entire crypto market, it will also happen here. And if Bitcoin breaks above the 20K again, so if you want a very, very similar movement to Bitcoin, anyway, let me show to you. That's it. Right, so we have a wedge pattern here. We have a very similar zone here. If we break it upward, we'll be breaking above the 11.5 on KCS. If we keep on trading lower to this area, KCS will be dropping lower to the next demand, which is also a demand zone. Okay, let's get back to our KCS analysis, and that's basically it. So now what I'll be doing, and if you remember last week, let's update it really quick. If you remember previously, we were looking for a buy here, we entered the buy, and then on the retest, we expected rejection from 10, and then we looked for a buy here, and then we looked for a buy here. So we have been buying KCS previously from a short-term perspective, but as I always said, that for the bulls to take over from a long-term perspective, we need to see a breakup of this, and we were around this resistance here and round number 10. And sorry, also as mentioned, for the bears to take over, anyway, you can watch the previous video, but let me do it real quick. For the bears to take over, you need to see this break, which would what happens with Bitcoin breaking below the 20K and 110 and 10 for KCS. We traded lower, and then I said that if we break this one downward, right, the 8 and like the 8.5 will be trading lower from here. So we broke it, we rejected it, and we traded lower. Now, if we go a little bit lower, it would be a massive zone here, just like previously, because this created a demand zone to look for buy setups. And yeah, that's basically it. And of course, around this area, expect some sort of rejection, because it's now a resistance zone intersecting with the upper trend line. But we want the bulls to break above it, and then above the 11.5 to expect a long-term bullish movement. So my trading plan for KCS would be around this area. I'll be looking for short-term buy setups, and then I'll be adding more if we break above this area, or looking for buy setups. If you did a little bit lower, I'll be looking for also buy setups around the lower support zone. I try to cover as many cases and scenarios as possible. Of course, be safe, trade safe, and I'll see you hopefully on the next one.